Hey guys, welcome back. So I have got a really fun video for y'all today. I am going to be chatting with you guys about my favorite books of 2022. And this is the first time I've ever done a video like this because 2022 was really the first year that I was reading a ton. I mean, in the past, I've enjoyed reading, but I mean, I would maybe read like a couple of books a year, whereas in 2022, I read 151 books. I cannot believe that. And I started reading like at the end of February. So I was missing out basically on 2 months of reading. So who knows what it would have been, but I didn't make myself a goal or anything like that. I'm probably not going to do that for 2023 either. I just wanted to enjoy reading. I read a couple of books, was enjoying reading, and I just kept going. Now I did read quite a few novellas at the end of the year, so that kind of bumped up the number for sure, like holiday novellas and stuff like that. So, but still, a lot of reading. I'm just loving reading right now. So I didn't limit myself to like a top 10, top 15, top 2020, top 22 of 2022. I didn't do anything like that. I just went through my list and kind of like decided what were my top favorites. So I think I have 17, I think, last time I checked. Anyway, so I've got some good things to chat with you guys about. If you want to see my other favorites from the year, I will try to remember to link those down below for you. If you're new here, my name is Leslie. Welcome. I love to do favorites videos, like beauty favorites, new at the drugstore beauty sort of videos, and then I usually put in my book favorites in monthly favorites. That's where I chat about books, but I thought I'd do a whole dedicated video on them. So yeah, I'm excited to do it. Did I already say this? If you're new, please subscribe. Let's get to the video. Okay, before I get into the books, I forgot this, so I'm going to insert this clip. A couple of bookish things that I wanted to mention before I get into the books. I absolutely love this book light. You can twist it different directions. You can change the color tone of it. There's kind of a neutral, a more warm, and a more cool option. 3 different levels on the light. It's rechargeable, so that you can put it behind your head and read versus your light being hooked on your book and having to move it every time you change the page. I just find this to be so convenient and I have used it a ton. So I am a physical book gal. I just really like reading a physical book, but I did end up getting a Kindle towards the end of the year. It was like I think I got it on Cyber Monday. So I love this little sleeve. Bought it from someone on Etsy. I will link it down below for you. She has different options. This is so nice. It's a very soft inner lining to it. It has a snap on it, which is great. I have the Kindle Paperwhite, and this fits my Paperwhite perfectly. I have the Paperwhite that I think came out in 2021, I think is the one I have, but definitely check the size of it, of what you would need for your particular Kindle size. So here is my Kindle. I have a couple little stickers on it. I have a pop socket on it. And I've really liked this a lot more than I thought I would. The Paperwhite, this particular one that I got, is waterproof. So I can read it in the bathtub, which is amazing. And I don't really go on beach vacations because I'm not a beach vacation person. That's just not my favorite thing to do. I know I'm strange. But if I did, it would be nice to be able to read on the beach with this, waterproof Paperwhite. And I have found myself reaching for it. My favorite scenario is if I have the physical book and it's also available on Kindle Unlimited. So then I can kind of read it all the places. I can read it in the bathtub. I can read it in the car on my phone when Timothy's driving somewhere. I can then read my physical book when I'm home. So I really love that if I kind of have all the ways to read a book. Okay, so what I've done is kind of group them by genre. The main ones I like to read: thriller, mystery, and romance. Occasionally I'll read a sci-fi, occasionally a fantasy, but my main ones are thriller, mystery, and romance, and I'm definitely a seasonal reader. Like summertime I was loving island vacation sort of books, then dark academia in the beginning of kind of the school year time, then spooky books, then holiday books. So definitely into kind of seasonal reading for sure. So let's start with thrillers. So I read this one in the summertime. This is The Siren from Catherine St. John. One of the #1 things with me when I'm reading is, do I like the author's writing style and do I kind of like connect with it in that I'm reading it quickly? You know what I mean? Like my brain just like connects with the writing style. That usually is a big kind of determining factor of if I like the book or not. if I'm stumbling over it, I usually don't end up liking the book nearly as much. And I found that she's really easy to read. I mean, I found I was reading her quickly. I also read The Lion's Den from her. This one is The Siren. Basic premise is kind of like a movie that's going on a Caribbean island. Oh, I will say definitely check trigger warnings. If you need to know about triggers, that's always something good to look up for books, because sometimes there's kind of unexpected things, especially in thrillers. But sometimes even in romance too, there's little things in there that you might need to know about. So if you need to check triggers, I would say, reminder, check triggers on these books. And there is some things in here that I would say, yes, definitely, you would want to know the content, a couple little things in here. So, but the very end of this book gets really exciting. There's some kind of weather things that come into play with this. There's sort of multiple storylines coming together. So there's sort of like drama, there's mystery, there's characters you really don't like in this book, and you're just kind of like putting the pieces together and you're hoping certain things will happen. And yeah, I just really enjoyed this one. And again, I just really like her writing style. She has another book that I haven't read yet. Okay, what next? Oh, another summary one that I read, The Island. This one is definitely like a survival type of a thriller. This is from Adrienne McKenty. This is about a family that goes on a vacation. They end up on this island. Some things start happening and it becomes a story of survival. Like, can they survive being on this island with some other people there, and things are happening. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but again, I read this one really quickly. He has another book that I haven't read. I think it's called The Chain. I haven't read that one yet. Okay, this one I read kind of in the fall time. Loved this. I'm definitely I still like a mystery. Sometimes I'll read reviews on thrillers and people will say, oh, it was slow, it was boring. I have another example of that in a second. But I think because I read mystery too, as long as I'm connecting with the author's writing style and something is still happening and the story is still moving along, I'm engaged, I'm interested, I'm usually liking the book. So this is Alice Feeney, Daisy Darker. This is her newest release that came out, I think in October? I don't know, sometime in the fall. But this is a locked door mystery, or like a closed off type of a mystery. They're basically stuck on this island, and where people start becoming unalived, and you're trying to figure out who is the killer. It's this like just group of people, so you're trying to figure out, well, it's got to be somebody here, or is there somebody else here we don't know about? It's that kind of a premise. I love that in a thriller and a mystery, and this one was really good. I did kind of wonder about the twist, but then I didn't think it was that, and then it did end up being that, but I still loved the book. Then this one I read in the fall time too. This is very dark academia vibes. This is Ruth Ware, The It Girl. This kind of had mixed reviews, but I loved it. It's kind of similar to In My Dreams I Hold a Knife, where it's kind of a group of friends that something happened when they were in college, and then now they're kind of coming back together, and there's questions about, was that really what happened? Same sort of premise for this. So this is past present storyline. I really like that. I like a past present storyline, and I just really enjoyed this one. Some people said it was slow, some people said it was too long, but I was just really invested in the story. I liked it. I felt like it was really, really good, kept me engaged and wondering. I loved the ending. And yeah, I really just like her writing style. I find myself reading through it quickly. It's a good one. This one I read around Christmas time because it took place around that time in the story. This is Catherine Steadman, The Family Game. This was so good. I liked this a lot. I love this beautiful cover. So pretty. I do subscribe to Book of the Month, and I've been really happy with it. I've been enjoying that. So several of mine are Book of the Month kind of books, so that's why that's up there. But beautiful cover on this one. So this one is kind of like, the basic premise is that she is getting married, and her fiance, it comes from a very powerful, rich family with kind of secrets, and they play kind of like family games. So it's her kind of like trying to figure out this family, and so it's some of that, but then there's quite a few like kind of action-packed scenes in it, and one particular scene really freaked me out, but wasn't too far. It was just enough spooky that I could handle, and it was just really good. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of kind of twists and turns to it, and I really like where there's kind of a character sort of thing to a thriller too, where you're kind of investigating the interactions of the story of the characters and kind of wondering who can you trust and who's the bad guy and that kind of question. I really like that in a thriller. So those were kind of my standout thriller favorites. So I said I did read a couple of sci-fis and then also fantasy. I would say this is a standout for sci-fi, but really it's sort of like, it read to me like a thriller sci-fi because it was super action-packed and fast-paced. This is from Blake Crouch. This is Dark Matter. Basic premise is that this guy wakes up and he's sort of like in a situation where his family is not his family, his wife is not his wife anymore, his son is not around, and he's wondering what is going on, what has happened, put the pieces together, trying to figure out where he is and like why is his family not his family anymore, and questions like that. So it's very kind of sci-fi. It's a lot of like putting the pieces together. It jumps around a lot, but there's surprisingly quite a bit of heart in this book too. Like you really care about the main character and his family, and I loved that aspect of it too, because then you're really invested in the storyline. You know what I mean? So it was very good. I also discovered that I really like YA thriller and mystery, because sometimes what I end up not liking about just a regular thriller, not a YA, is maybe it goes just a little bit too dark, or it just is a little bit too much for me, you know, and sometimes it's hard to know that until you're totally into the book and finishing the book. So YA stays a little bit kind of lighter. It's a little bit more on the mystery side. So I found that I really do enjoy YA mystery and thrillers. So loved the Inheritance Games trilogy, but I think there's another book that's coming out, and so I would just say series, the Inheritance Games series. This is from Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and this is a story about this girl who ends up finding out she has this huge inheritance from this man. She doesn't know who he is. She ends up at this house, and part of her getting the inheritance is that she has to live there with the family, who is basically like not been given this huge inheritance like she is being given. So there's family dynamics there. There's a little bit of romance in it. This really cool, mysterious house that she's trying to figure out the clues. Loved it. The first one is my favorite. I did really enjoy the second one. Loved it too. The thing with this series is that it's almost, and sometimes mysteries do this, at least this is what I experience, I get a little confused. Like there ends up being either so many characters, which really, well, it does happen in this one too. They keep kind of adding on more layers to it and more to the mystery and the characters, and sometimes I just get a little bit confused. Like, wait, what happened? Who is that? How are they? What? Huh? You know what I mean? That it gets just a little bit too much. And that's what I find with this one towards the end of the series in the final gambit. But it had also been a little bit since I'd read the first two. Anyway, loved the first one, really loved the second one. Did enjoy the third one too, but especially the first two. This really surprised me so much that I ended up loving these books. Teen Killers Club and Teen Killers in Love. It sounds so random. These covers just like, I don't know, like they don't look like they would draw me in at all. But I heard someone recommend these and say that there's a ton of heart in these books. And there is. The basic premise of it is that there's these groups of teens, and they are kind of like, they've been looked at and examined, sort of, what do they call them? A Class A criminal, the most dangerous and manipulative criminal profile. So basically saying that they are the most dangerous. And so it's this group of Class A teen criminals, and they are given an opportunity to become assassins for this group. And it's kind of following their story, and you're sort of like starting to learn about each of them and what really happened in their past. And there's kind of like stories of like what they're trying to figure out and their survival. And it's just really good. And then the second one is even more amazing because there's a romance in this, and there's a lot of character development, and I just got really invested in these characters, and I cannot wait for the third one. I need to know more about this. It really surprised me. I ended up loving it. Loved these too. These are from, what is her full name? Maureen Johnson. So these are the Truly Devious books. So there's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think 1, 2, 3. I think that's the order they go in. This is very dark academia. So it's about this school where these kids go and they each kind of have a special talent. Like they're really good with, you know, like machinery and stuff like that, or just different things. And hers is that she is really good at mysteries, basically. And so the school has a mystery that happened back, I think, in like the 30s or something. So she writes a letter kind of thinking, I'm not going to get in. And she did, saying that she wants to try to figure out the mystery from the past. So it's her trying to figure out the mystery from the past. It's past, present storyline. But then also some things end up happening in the present. And then she's trying to figure out that mystery as well. So it's a lot of different things going on, but not too much. You know what I mean? The place that, like the school itself is mysterious, and there's things that she's trying to figure out about there and put the clues together. There's character development in here and friendships and some romance in here too. And it's just really, really good. I loved it. I blew through these books. I read them so quickly. They were so good. There's 2 more that are kind of like, I think, spin-offs of these that I haven't read yet, but I'm excited to. I also read Cozy Mysteries and really enjoyed them too. And I will say my favorite Cozy Mysteries are the ones that are a little bit kind of more sassy. You know what I mean? So my picks for these are definitely more on the sassy side. So in the Cozy Mystery sort of realm, there are ones that are like super cozy, and then there's other ones that are a little bit more on the sassy side. So I like the more sassy side. So I read this one. This is the first in the series. I cannot wait to read more. This is her Royal Spiness, and it says solves her first case. And she is a royal, but she's like 30 something in line. So she has kind of the, she's supposed to like look the part and act the part, but she doesn't have the financial situation that kind of higher in the royal family does. And she is trying to find, you know, figure out mysteries. This is funny. I have really discovered I love a funny book that makes me smile, makes me laugh. Those are some of my very standout favorites, where I'm just, it's like a lot of times it's first person. Usually it's first person's perspective, where I'm just really invested in the person's storyline. They entertain me, kind of being in their head. So this one is funny. I love her character. There's some romance in it. There's mystery in it. There's kind of the royal sort of family sort of storyline. It's just so good, so cute, and there's a lot in this series. She also has another series. This is by Rhys Bowen, right? Is this by Rhys? Yes, Rhys Bowen, right there on the top. Then also, it's hard to say what my standout favorite book of the year was, but Finlay Donovan is Killing It would definitely be up there as one of my very, very favorite, top favorite books. This is the second one. I still really loved this one too, but this is the first one, and this is my standout of the 2. So the basic premise of this is that she is a divorced lady, and she is kind of like down on her luck. She's struggling financially. She's a writer. She's at a restaurant with her, I think like her agent or her editor or something along those lines. And she's kind of pitching this storyline of a hit woman. And somebody overhears her and thinks that she is actually a hit woman and offers her a job. And she kind of ends up like in this crazy situation that she really wasn't intending to be in. And things just kind of start spiraling out of control. It is funny, so funny. You wonder what's going to happen. Lots of twists and turns. There's friendship in here. There's romance in here. And it's just so good. I absolutely loved it, and I found myself just smiling and laughing multiple times. It was very entertaining. And then romance. I love a good, sweet romance. It just puts a smile on my face. I love a good romance story. So I would say honorable mention to Emily Henry books. I read People We Meet on Vacation and Beach Read. I have not read Book Lovers yet, and then she has a new one coming out this year that I'm excited about. I really like her writing style. I find it easy to read. Hers has a little bit more, I would say People We Meet on Vacation is maybe a little bit lighter, I guess, in the storyline. So this one has a little bit more kind of to it, that it's not quite as light and fluffy as some other romances that I have read, but it's definitely still kind of in that realm. But yeah, I would say honorable mention to this one. I did really like that book. And then again, kind of another romance that has a lot of heart and kind of some more emotional aspects to it. This is The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. So I have read the first 3 in this series. There's 2 and then a novella, and then I haven't read the 4th one that has a different storyline of a different character. But this girl goes to basically kind of re-meet her father, her estranged father that she hasn't had a relationship with in a long time, and he is ill, and so there's kind of those storylines, and then she ends up meeting a pilot there that is her father's kind of family friend, and it's a Grumpy Sunshine storyline. I loved it. It is very sweet. Okay, and then I'm gonna save that one. Christina Lauren, one of my favorite author duos for romance. I just find their writing to be funny, engaging. I find myself reading really quickly. This one is Something Wilder. Some people didn't like this because they said it was kind of a weird sort of book for them to write, that it was a lot of adventure to it. I loved that about it though. I love a romance story that has like an adventure tied into it, or a mystery they're trying to solve, or something else is going on. So I love that in a romance book, and this one was like that she kind of works for this sort of, kind of like an adventure company, that these people go out into the wilderness and are going on kind of a survival adventure sort of a thing, and she ends up going with this group, and one of them is somebody she knows from her past. So it's kind of a second chance romance, which I love. One of my favorite tropes in a romance book. I found it really cute, funny. There is some steam in her books, also in K.A. Tucker, but it's not throughout the whole book. It's maybe like a scene or 2. So yeah, I can handle that. And then, oh my goodness, I have both covers for this book because I love it so much. Christina Lauren, Love in Other Words. This is a childhood friends to strangers to lovers kind of a storyline. Like they were friends and then they fell in love when they were younger, but then something happened and they didn't talk for a long time, and then they run into each other again, and it's them kind of like getting to know each other again and what happens now. So good, so sweet. I loved these characters. There is, the thing that ended up happening in the past, it's pretty intense. So that's kind of like ooh, that's tough. That was a tough part of the storyline, but I still loved the book. Yeah, so again, I just love Christina Lauren. Okay, I'm glad that I waited to the very end of the year, to give myself to the very end of the year, in case I had any favorites at the very end, because I did. Faking Christmas. So this is the only Christmas book that I have in my overall favorites. I stinkin' loved this book. This is by Cindy Steele. It is a clean romance, so it's only kissing, but it was so funny. My camera cut me off, but I was saying this is really funny. This is a funny, cute book. It is an enemies to lovers fake dating sort of storyline. I love a fake dating storyline. I usually find them to be pretty entertaining and funny. So she ends up saying that she has a boyfriend, and when somebody asks her what his name is, she doesn't know why, but she says the name of her coworker who she really cannot stand. They're both teachers, so she says his name, and then suddenly he's there, and he goes along with it, and it's just adorable. Their interactions were so cute and sweet and funny and entertaining, and I loved their love story. So, so good. I would say if I had to pick one favorite romance book, it would be The Cheat Sheet from Sarah Adams. This is a closed-door romance, which I loved, but it's still sweet and sexy and cute. And so the storyline of this is that they are friends and they're both in love with each other, and neither of them knows that they're in love with each other. So it's dual POV, which I love. So you get from her perspective, his perspective, of them both in love with each other, and they end up having to fake date because she's kind of caught on camera saying something about him, and they end up fake dating because he's kind of like this famous football player. And it's just It's so funny, so cute. It is cheesy. I mean, it's like a you smile the whole book. It's over the top, it's cheesy. She's pretty over the top, but I mean, I still loved it. It just put a smile on my face. Such a sweet storyline. I loved the ending. So good. All right, you guys, so those are all my favorite books of 2022. I hope that you guys really enjoyed this video. I would absolutely love to hear your top favorite books. Please, please, please let me know that down below. Ask me any questions that you have. I'm happy to answer those. Please subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.